Hey folks, this is Ben Gessel. How's it going? This is going to be kind of a double review, I guess you could say, of Tubi, Tubi. It's a um, movie app. It's free. And also, I'm going to talk about actually a movie called Drillbit Taylor, which, yeah. Anyway, so let's get to all this stuff here. So Tubi, I've been using Tubi for just a short period of time now, not very that long. And to be honest, uh, this has been the case for quite a while now. I really haven't been playing any real video games. So that's not been happening, and I really have only been watching YouTube. And I've been, of course, working on all kinds of other stuff as well. Uh, Things that are, everything, all kinds of stuff, as you guys know about. I write music and I teach lessons and all this stuff. And I play horn and I do all kinds of musical things and other things as well. So there's all kinds of things that I need to be out and about doing, and so I only have, really so much resources to put into media. But yeah, I mean, Tubi is free, completely free, and it has apparently stuff that you can't find on Netflix, and it actually has a pretty decent variety of movies. Now, of course, half the movies at least are B budget, but the other half are actually not too bad. And you're going to be hard pressed to find really amazing movies, of course. But the thing is, though, it's free, so it's actually pretty hard to beat. You just have to kind of wade through a few movies. You have to kind of watch a little bit and stop watching it, but at least you don't have to pay any money, right? Anyway, so that's Tubi. So this movie Drillbit Taylor, I thought when it first came out, the previews, it was actually going to be pretty, I don't know, kind of mediocre, but it actually turned out to be pretty good. And I have a few thoughts, of course, about it. I don't want to spoil it for you guys. It is worth watching. Um, of course, like a lot of teacher movies and a lot of, I don't know, there's a lot of things that are not very realistic. It's true. But I don't know if you guys have heard, there are some growing problems with public education. Public schools in the United States, there's some growing problems. It's getting worse in many places. And the reason why public schools are getting worse is it has to do with the fact that just what's legally okay to do for teachers and the nature of the laws as they exist for minors and things. And basically, in a lot of schools, I mean, you can't. You have to be very careful about what you do physically. So there are a lot of, again, depends on the school district somewhat, but in the state, but there are a lot of policies that are, we'll just say jack crap. And I'm just fine with not being a public school teacher because the public school teachers are still treated like crap by the, more or less. They're underpaid, they're overworked, by and large, majority of them, actually all of them, but some in particular, and they go through a lot of almost like violence. I mean, so minors can hit a teacher, that's okay, or they just get a slap on the wrist. But if a teacher uses more excessive force, or wow, if a teacher does almost anything like that, they're gonna get fired. So you restrain a student, all kinds of stuff. You know, and I'm a paraprofessional French horn coach right now. If some kid were to come up to me and slap me or punch me in the stomach or whatever, the only thing I could do would be talk to administration, and I get the, I mean, they could, it'd be the same deal as if I just. It depends. Just when you have a system in effect where bullying is tolerated, or light punishments are enacted. When you have a situation in a school where I don't know, like you tell me, the problem has not remedied itself throughout my entire life, schools have just gotten steadily worse and worse and worse. When I just as being a parapro, I mean, the school I teach at, or help, I coach horn students at. When there's a sub there, they've actually asked, and the kids have been just loud. They haven't been aggressive. But there was a sub there that was almost asking me to help run the class, and that wasn't even a crazy wild class. That was just a band where kids are just kind of a little bit reckless and rowdy. And teachers, I'm more used to teachers using like a microphone just to kind of talk over the shouting of the kids. And I thought I'd mention a few of these things, just a few things, because even though this movie's a comedy and it's fun, it touched a nerve in me, and I can go into more detail about it later. I'm not saying that kids should be roughed up and stuff by adults, and that's not what I'm saying at all. What I am saying is that their best public school education is messed up in the United States. It's jacked up, and it's been that way for the longest time because American, the way things are and the law and government and whatever, trying to. It's such a grievous sin apparently to be to you know hit a kid on the tush with a wooden board, you know, 10 times or so, nice whack, 10 times. Apparently that's considered abusive nowadays. In the past, they did that, and the kid didn't do that crap anymore. I'm not saying that's the best way of going about doing this stuff, but what I am saying is that for some kids, this, oh, you have to go home, suspension, right? Automatic suspension for a few days. That kid's just gonna have fun at home or do whatever. And then expulsion from school is a different matter. Public school is all about educating everybody, so that's the last thing anybody wants to do. But I mean, like, I'm wondering, like, okay, so then if you're gonna be tougher on kids that are delinquent, then you have cops in the school that take care of these altercations, but teachers still can't protect themselves, or if they do, they'll hit jobs in the line. It's just a zoo. And if someone wants to criticize the United States, their education system, by all means, go ahead. It sucks. Now, Drillbit Taylor, let's get back to this movie here in a bit. It's a really funny movie. You know, um, it's true that, when you have teenagers, a teenager can technically beat up an adult. Technically. But we're talking about an older teenager for the most part. We're talking about young men that get tall really quickly. And the types of teachers that are more vulnerable are, of course, older ladies. Younger ladies, a bit more just younger, but there's a size difference. And so obviously it's the adult men and the tougher younger women often. Sometimes you get the tougher older women too, but it's, that's just in the case where you have one teacher versus a student, just a showdown. For the worst students that are just basically going to be going to jail, at some point. But yeah, that's something, you know. Sometimes there's no chance to get a cop, you know, uh, in the classroom. Sometimes the teacher has to protect themselves. So when I hear about teachers getting fired for that stuff, I'm like, that's no big deal. That could happen to anybody. A substitute doesn't matter. So they're chaos, and until the government gets their head in on, and, until government gets a real, until, yeah, until government gets a real good dose of reality of what will work and what won't work, and just get some freaking common sense about what's happening, especially in inner city schools, right? It's just gonna keep having the same situation over and over again. Um, you know, I don't know. I just know that for myself personally, if any, yeah, middle school is different. Those kids just they're small enough at the seventh and eighth grade level that no, I would never. You don't really need to. No, I mean for me at least I wouldn't. But at the high school level, um, there may be a situation sometimes where um, I might need to be a little bit. Well, I would usually block something. right, right. I would only throw punches when I guess your life's in danger. But again, yeah, it's really the older teenagers and it's football guys, and those guys can get pretty big. And so at that point, you're definitely protecting your life at that point for some of these guys that are out of control. And you want the cops to get involved, and you want to whatever. But there are times when you just have to protect yourself, but you have to use full force. But that's not that's high school and beyond, obviously, and that's older high school. Well, that's bigger kids in high school. Junior high is different. I've forgotten how small some of these junior high kids are, and some of them are taller, but very few of them are actually. Okay, this is this. If you guys are going to see Drillbit Taylor, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about, and it brings back some memories at times. I was never. Uh, Most kids are not bullied in the classical sense. Most kids are not bullied in a Hollywood sense. It's always very subtle. And a lot of you guys probably remember what it's like to be bullied or something along those lines. And if you can be bullied as an adult by other adults, So I have to say, yeah, one of the faults of Drillbit, one of the faults of Drillbit, yeah, I can't even talk right now. One of the faults of Drillbit Taylor is that, of course, there's a lot of um, status quo ways that parents will act in this kind of movie. I was rolling my eyes the entire time, but it still works, right? I mean, if parents have like a combined, mom and dad have a combined IQ of like 110. I'm exaggerating them, but it's just they're clueless and they're just airheads. And the reason why this is the case in these kinds of movies is because it's kind of exaggerates the helplessness of the teenage boys or girls or whatever who's ever being bullied. And the principal is inept, not capable at all. Rolls over backwards for everybody. That's not at all how, of course, real life is. Um, it's just that when it comes to things like assault and battery, or if it's a minor doing something like that, depending on what they did, there's just the law isn't perfect. But yeah, I mean, that's what I would do if I was ever someone tried to punch or slap me or whatever. You just block it. You move away from the situation. You head to the administrator's office. That's what you do. I would never strike a student or a minor ever, unless my life was on the line. And they'd have to be a big guy. I mean, at least my size or bigger. At least my strength or stronger. And it would have to be a situation more than likely outside of school. But if it happened in school, you get to the administrator's office, you let them know what's happening ASAP. Say call 911 or whatever it is. But a lot of times it's just someone goes berserk. Very few kids are really that bad. Oh, I don't know. A lot of times, of course, you guys have heard of school shootings, but that's a different. different situation. But and then there's a whole bunch of things about this movie I'm not talking about so much. I know, but it's a funny movie. It's worth watching. But there's always a question of what can an adult do to help out kids who are being bullied. That's a legitimate question, and you do everything you can do. But sometimes the law or sometimes administration won't do everything, so you have to sometimes. I mean, as far as just verbal stuff, right? You stick up for kids that are being bullied always. You notify the parents of the bully what's going on, and you won't notify the administration, and you notify the police if there's like bruises and scratches and blood and stuff. Somebody's obviously been hurting some kid. That's what you do. All that stuff. Of course, you never strike a student. You just block. But depending on the situation, again, if it's just a really big dude and for some reason he's going after me, I have to do what I have to do to protect myself, even if it means getting fired from whatever position I have. Because I'd rather be fired than end up in the hospital paralyzed. Like so. Okay, again, this is it's just this movie touches on those things. It's important to think about these things here and there. Anyway, Drillbit Taylor, it's a great movie. Anyway, Owen Wilson. Okay, leave me thoughts and comments below. Catch you guys later. Take care. Bye.